Nikos Rentas here, mentorsapproach.com. Thank you for visiting and watching the different videos. Today we got an email from somebody, and it's all about kind of like time management, but more like priorities. And we're going to talk more about priorities than time management, and we're going to be making another video about time management. So here we go. Hi Nikos, I'm currently working for a company in my field, and life has been great. Excellent, congratulations. I started just under 7 months ago, and things have been going well. That is awesome to hear. Getting into your field and starting your career is a great thing and a great place to be. Make no mistake about it. Along the way, I finally met the girl of my dreams, and although things were going great, the last 2 months have been stressful with some fighting. No fighting. You do not fight. No fighting. The first 3 months, everything was awesome, and we really hit it off. Honeymoon phase, always great. I'm working long hours between my career job and a startup that got going about the time I met her. I wasn't spending that much time on it, but in the last few months, lots of work has been needed. Awesome. Startups are great. They make you feel alive. That's how I characterize it. Or I describe it. And the characteristics that come out of it from me is pure happiness. I love doing something new. It makes your mind actually work on everything you've learned and the stuff that you need to develop all the skill sets. So, you seem to be involved heavily in the startup world, and my question is, how do you manage the personal life with the startups? Do you think that this could be the reason she is fighting me? A lot of couples will start bickering at each other and fighting with each other. Not big fights, smaller fights, because you're doing something new. And if they didn't agree with it 100% and they're not supportive 100%, you got an issue and you got to deal with it, because you may have made that decision, but you didn't make the decision with them. And this goes for both males and females who are doing something new, and they got the opposite, trying to be supportive, but they're really not. But they want to be, but it's just not there. My last fight was after I had to cancel for a legit good reason, and she agreed to change plans. How legit was it? Was it really legit? Like, was it a dire need to be there, or could you have canceled? However, I realized that she wasn't happy, but just went along with it to make me happy. So now you have this person that really was pissed off. You realized it after the fact, and you think, if you're asking, is this why? You probably in your head have seen why you're asking that, which is probably true. You probably pissed the fuck out of her, and now she's going, well, is this it? Well, I'm going to make him pay to see how much he loves me and see where his love is at for me. How do you deal with such situations? Well, first off, you're looking at it from a perspective of time management. And it is. I'm not saying it's not. However, it's also priorities. And priorities is a different beast. When we look at what a priority is and where do we align our priorities, we basically we're agreeing with how we feel inside of us on a certain issue or a certain person or a thing, and we do a priority level to see how our time is going to fit in. So now, when you're looking at it from the perspective of just time management, then you're aligning everything as an equivalent. And then when something with a high priority jumps in, you say fuck it to the other thing, which is what you kind of are doing here. And that's how I see it. And when I look at it that way, I always find myself in an epic fail, and then I have to kind of fix it. And I don't like doing that because it wastes more time. So priorities. What are your priorities? Right now you have a career and it's a job. And now in your email you also said career job, which tells me it's really not something you're seeing as 7 months in. Is this really your career? Is this really your job? Which one is it? Like, do you know? Have you sat down and had that conversation with yourself? When we look at a career and people are in their careers, they love what they're doing and they're growing into it, or they tried it, they hate it, and they want to change out of it. The question always comes down to where are you at, and it'll take some time to develop it. Now, the priority is money and having your sanity of being able to pay bills and do the things you like to do, especially when you're dating somebody that you fell in love with, and you want to make sure they're happy, because you might see that, hey, this is happening, this like might be the one. However, where's she on your priority range? And then where's your startup on the priority range? For me, I treat the startups are like my career. So when I get involved with a startup, I make it my own. A, B, it's a job that is not just anything I started doing, see if it's going to work out. It's a job within my career. And when I do start it, or I'm consulting on it, or anything like that, I'm taking it as my own, and I prioritize accordingly. And the value of effort you put into one thing is not going to be the same as the other thing. So you have a 9 to 5 job, and then in the afternoons you're going to be spending it on that. Well, you also have the girl to make sure that she's happy. And you canceling dates with her is bringing your attraction level down and bring your whole opportunity, you would say, on the relationship to a dramatic halt, where you're going to find yourself trying to play catch up. And that's not where we want you to be. Where we want you to be is come up with a set of rules, you would say. So if you were in a coach call with me, we would be sitting down and actually walking down the specifics in your situation of your startup. Is your startup making money yet? Is it not? You're putting more hours into it. Well, why? Where is it going to lead to long term? And how does that fit in with your career, your 9 to 5? And how does that fit in with your personal life with the girl and your family? Because I'm assuming if you're having these fights with the girl, then other people in your family and your friends are kind of going, well, what the hell? Like, you're so busy all the time. What, we're worth nothing? Like, fuck. Okay, and then all of a sudden people will start leaving your life. You're not going to know why, even though because of what's happening, and then you're gonna go through another phase shift of what the fuck's going on. Your priority when I'm dating somebody, my priority is to make dates, set them, and make sure I come through on them. If something is really, really needed and I need to cancel or postpone, I explain that to them. I walk them through it, and we come to an agreements together. And usually, people will understand a communicational step-by-step walkthrough of why you're canceling. But if you just say, hey, I got to cancel tonight, I got something really big coming in the pipe works, and I can't meet you, and then you just hang up, that's a big error. And it's an error because think of it, if it was on your end, and then you're trying to be supportive, but at the same time you're like, what the fuck, like you just stood me up like that. I don't even know if what you're doing is worth it. Like, is that worth more than me? Like, it doesn't, but if you something really important comes up and you need to be there, and say that you set a date and you go, listen, let me make it up to you, and we'll go out tomorrow. I'm going to move some things around and we're going out. Or, I have Thursday open and we're definitely doing an awesome date. Get some surprise in there. Get her feeling like she's appreciated for being there, being supportive, and you appreciate the fact that she has to go through the cancellation process because you're doing the startup. And I mean, if you're in a startup where it's starting to pick up and it's making money, and you're at that point where you're going to be quitting your job and switching over to the startup and fulfilling your needs on that end, that's another conversations that you're going to have with the girl you're starting to date that you see as potential down the road. I've met other people that were just, they're head over heels for the girl, and then they stopped working on their startups, stopped working on themselves, and then all of a sudden it's like the girl leaves and they're like, oh. But there's a way to communicate, and that communication is the process of you being able to walk through what's going on, showing the priorities, and being able to set up a proper schedule where you're not canceling the dates and your dates with your friends. Like, if you set up a time that you're going to go out for beers and you don't show up because something's come up, you'll lose those friends. Trust me, I've been there. At one point I was so busy that all my friends started leaving, and they're just kind of like, fuck you. It happens. And it's kind of like when people get married and then they have kids, and all of a sudden they're like, oh man, life is busy. What, you don't have time to pick up the fucking phone and call me? Like, I call you, but then, you're depressed about the fact that you don't have any time. It's the same kind of mentality. When you're doing a startup and you're going, and your friends are going, well, what the hell? You're that busy you can't pick up the phone because you're working till 5 in the morning and then going to work at 8? you need to open up that communication, that road to success through communication. And once you do that, you're able to actually have that awesome, that beautiful relationship with a girl. You're able to have great relationships with your friends and your family. It just clicks, and they see you working hard, they support you, and then all of a sudden you're in this happy zone, and the startup goes much smoother. Because once the startup goes up and down, and once that startup hits a very low point, then it's harder to pick yourself up and keep going. Especially when you were right there and then you missed the opportunity, and you call the girl you're dating and she's like, well, you missed my date, you canceled on me and you didn't even like close a deal. Like, honestly, what's going on? Where are we at? And you want to keep that relationship alive. So communication is important, but it's the priorities and setting up a priorities sequence where you know that if you set that date, you're going to be there. And if not, you're going to communicate the why and establish another date where you're going to go see her and make her feel appreciated. Goes with friends and family. And that's how you do your time management. That's where the time management revolves around. We'll do a video on time management, separate video. And I think you're on the right path with this, but it's a learning curve because clearly you just got into your career, so you're in school, and you're growing through the career phase, and at the same time you're going into a startup, and the first few startups that you're going to do, you're going to find a learning curve like you wouldn't believe. And that's what we deal with every day when we talk to entrepreneurs. It's, oh man, that fucking learning curve, it really gets you. It's a mind fuck, and you sit there and you're like, did that just happen? And then on top of that, you have all the family stuff, and then you have your wife or your girlfriend or whatever's happening. So take the opportunity now to enjoy it and learn from it. Communication is the number one thing that you need to focus on going off of this email, and prioritize everything around like what's happening in your life and communicate that in a proper, understanding, loving way. And then you'll see these little fights that you're having that you should never be fighting. And you should always communicate when you start seeing a fight, because we've all been there and we do those fights, and then it's like, what the fuck are we fighting? Like, this is fucking stupid, But then you're like, why did I fight? Well, because emotionally you're going through a lot. So go through your priorities, check that out with your time management, and then look at communication and what you're doing to communicate everything that's happening in your life. If you need any coaching or want to get on a quick coach call just to walk through what scenarios you're going through and how to, walk around them in a safe route and know for future what to do, please visit the website, mentorsapproach.com, and book an appointment with us. And my name is Nikos Rentos, mentorsapproach.com. Thank you.